Hello there, Tessa Maverick here, and we're gonna do an Enshrouded video. This is as of update 8, and this is going to be a Spellblade build that I've set up myself that I've been enjoying using. Now, it does take a little bit of setup because unfortunately with Enshrouded, you're better off focusing on one type or archetype early to make use of certain things. So, with that, it is until right now, as far as where I'm at for the game, I am up to the fight with the wyvern up at the north. And this is kind of where builds start to kind of separate and be more malleable. You can kind of make it work earlier if you want. You can work with the flavor of it, however you want to build it. However, I'm just going to go over a couple of things that I do within the game that allow this build to kind of be fun. So I'm going to preface this that Enshrouded does not encourage split play. And what I mean by split play is that you have your archetypes, which are melee. Melee is you either be sword and shield or you go two-handed weapons. It does not encourage you to branch out from outside of that because it's not incredibly efficient. And with magic, it really forces you to be like pure magic in this game. If you want to do anything strong with magic, you have to be pure magic. There's just so many nodes you have to pick up in the magic side that it only allows you to branch a little bit outward, like towards stamina. And I would say stamina is probably the most key thing because you want to be able to keep blink dodging if need be. And then with the uh, archer, ranger, kind of dagger and bow kind of setup, they've kind of shoehorn you into that because daggers scale off of dexterity and so do bows. So they kind of force you to play around up here with like getting the bow stuff, some of the dagger stuff, and then some of the dagger stuff you can kind of squeeze in down here, like thrust. You can grab melee piercing damage down here to up the damage of your weapons there and what have you. And so here we are. This is what my skill tree kind of looks like for Spellblade. You can see I kind of branched out into the other nodes. And there's some things that I kind of sacrifice because I don't think the point value is worth grabbing there. So we'll start with, of course, the center, which is double jump. Double jump is literally the first node you should ever take when you play Enshrouded. It's 4 points, so it takes your second level up for you to be able to get it. But double jumping is essential. You're going to use it everywhere in this game. I picked up Merciless Attack because I'll show you later. We have ways of stunning the enemies, and of course, because we're sword and boarding, we are able to block or parry enemies out of there and to stun them. We also have ways of stunning enemies with arrows as well if we want to do that too. All right, so we grab our like 1 point of strength here. We go into strength here. We pick up 1 level of Barbarian's Pass so that we can make our way up to Athlete and grab the 6 health times strength. So that gives us a decent chunk of HP. And we grab, of course, the strength nodes to help with our melee damage. Vigorous deflection as well. If you want to grab something like Crash Down Attack, you're more than welcome to. It's not part of the build that I have set up myself. And then, of course, I grabbed some Constitution and some Strength here because they're simple 1 point nodes that have a pretty big impact. And then we have our one-handed tree that we go down into. We get 3 points of Warrior's Path. We pick up one-handed specialization so we can do the one-handed special attack, which I think is one of the best specialization attacks in the game. Next to the wand one, the wand one is really strong. It just fires a void attack of the element of the wand that just sits there and does damage, and it sucks enemies into it. It's very strong. This one's still incredibly strong as well, because especially if you do it up close on enemies, you hit them with the spin attack and the slash, which is pretty strong. We pick up Slasher, which gives us melee cutting damage, increased by 30%. If you're using a sword, you want to go this. If you're using if you're not using a sword, then grab Brute. If you're using a mace, there are some really strong maces in the game as well. I would actually probably should use mace over sword, because I actually have a really nice mace in here. This mace right here, Twin Soul Mace, if you can grab this, is incredibly strong. It has 10% health leech, so you literally can just smash enemies in the face. And it doesn't have split damage like my current weapon does. And I'll give you a good look at what my current weapon is right now. So you can see the comparisons here. My current weapon doesn't have any life leech on it, but it has a lot more damage because it's a higher level. But that life leech will let you just keep punching people in the face while you just sap life back. And that's what makes it really strong. And the damage is not split. So, and I'll show you why. Like, split damage can be good, but it also has its cons as well. So we're going to go back into the skill tree. And so we pick up Slasher, we come down here, grab Constitution, grab 1 point of Strength, grab Swift Blades for melee speed, grab our stat nodes down here, pick up 3 levels of Veteran and 3 levels of Battle Heal, so that we have melee critical strike chance, and we heal off of our melee critical strike chance. And then we go and grab some defensive nodes. Soul Leech is pretty nice. If when you are casting spells from a distance and you run out of mana, you can just go in, and when you start meleeing, you can start getting some of that mana back for casting in fights. Grab Tower for defense around you, just because a lot of enemies are just punching you in the face, so you get more physical resistance there. We grab our Constitution nodes down here and pick up Earth Aura. I've only picked up 1 level of Earth Aura, because usually I'm the only one that's in people's spaces. If you're playing with friends and you want to put more points into that, you're more than welcome to. We pick up shiny plates and heavy plates to get some extra physical and magical armor. Usually heavy plates is in most of the equipment that I pick up, so you'll see like I have 1 point plus 2 in shiny plates. And then we go onto the magic side, where we grab Blink. Blink is very strong. It's probably one of the strongest nodes you can pick up in the game, just because the teleport is incredibly fast. It's incredibly distance. You can close a lot of distance, or you can get away very quickly. And then of course it comes with emergency blink, which emergency blink is just beyond busted, because if you get stunned from any enemy attack, you can just pop out of it instead of just getting your ass beat. We have 2 full levels in healer, and we have 2 levels of healer from gear, which you'll see in a minute, just because it builds that kind of like paladin kind of fantasy. So if you want to be a Spellblade and you want to be able to heal yourself, you can do that. It's pretty strong. It heals like over 80 HP per tick for me. Grab Spirit and then Water Aura. Water Aura is just an extra bit of like healing that you're going to get, because you are going to pick up some intelligence in the nodes. Like you'll see I have 16 intelligence. And then I go down here and just spend the points here. Some of these are pretty decent, like getting Shroud Resistance. But we're not going to be killing mostly with a magic weapon. We're mostly going to be killing with our melee weapon. You'll get a couple of kills from using your magic weapon and stuff, or when you do damage, but it's not going to be the way that we get Shroud in there, so that's not very useful. Receiving Shroud damage to get Shroud Resistance, not bad. Just a little bit, but I use it to get down to here to Exalted, so I get intelligence for every level of the flame. And then we go up here, we grab our path here to Arsonist. This is why I have Arsonist. A, it helps fireballs. B, it helps my split damage sword, because my sword has split damage on it. So you see it has fire damage and it has cutting damage. So the 30% goes towards my fire, and then I have the 30% cutting damage in the tree as well from slasher that lets my melee cutting damage increase on the weapon, so I do more damage. And then we grab quick charge, level 3, because you want to be able to cast spells quickly. And mana currents to help with my MP regeneration. And then we take levels up here to get to terror. And one of the reasons why we want terror is because of the fact that we run an eternal light burst. Being able to critical a eternal light burst and stun an enemy, being able to stun an enemy off of that is actually very useful. It can come into clutch when you're fighting. And on top of that, it also like helps with your casting spells at enemies. If you hit them and you crit, then you can stun them as well, and go up and start doing things like merciless attacks and whatnot. So that is the tree that I have right now. I have 141 points that I have to make this build out. If you're starting out, I would probably go with the either go one-handed and grab your one-handed nodes first, because one-handed is very strong in the game early. And then once you start getting a couple of points, you can start building into like the other aspects of the magic, especially once you start getting things like eternal spells. Things like channel heal, like you can get healer early and do channel heal. That's another early spell that you can get that will help you out. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go and we're gonna go fight some enemies real quick. Let me go right here. And once again, like I said, this build is more or less for fun than it is to be hyper efficient, because it's not going to do more damage than a pure melee build, and it's not going to do more damage than a magic build by far. Like, I can do 800 damage with a pure fireball, but I'm only doing like 300 damage with a fireball from this character, with the build that I currently have set up. Alright, so I'm going to show you a little bit of combat here on this character. Perfect. Alright, so first off, casting. These guys are weak to ice. Ow, that hurt. So you'll see like our water aura is healing us for 40 apiece, so that's really nice. So we're gonna our eternal ice bolt this guy. You'll see how much damage we do. So 363. A pure mage is going to do something like 600 to 700 with that spell, maybe a little less or more, whatever. But it does allow you to actually just cast spells at enemies and kill them if you want to cast some spells. It gives you that variety to be able to do that. And then of course we can get in close with them, and we can start with them with a sword, and that does a decent amount of damage too. And oh yes, also gear. I almost forgot. I should show you all the gear, shouldn't I? So the staff that I have has health leech on it, just to help with if I'm getting hit by a long range attacks, I can get some of my health back from that. Shield I haven't really upgraded. Most shields are serviceable. Take whatever like bonus points that you want off of them. I have one mana ring with Wizard and Spellslinger to help with getting that crit rate. Again, because you want to be able to critical with your magic weapon, so Wizard's very useful to have. If you have a thing on a node, the equipment still counts, so you don't have to have a point in that thing in order to get the bonus off of the equipment. I have melee crit strike helmet to help with critical strikes, because that's part of our sustain when we're in there meleeing. It being Barbarian's Path is unfortunate, but if you want to be a two-handed weapon specialist, this is actually very, very useful. And I think that the two-handed greatswords are probably the best weapons in the game. Not only is there a strong attack, very, very good at being able to close gaps, but also knock enemies into the air. But also, they get the most damage out of the tree because of Titan Edge. So it's just two-handed greatsword specifically. They get the damage from Barbarian's Path, and then they also get the damage from Slasher. So they are very strong. And if you could find a really good greatsword, that's probably one of the best ways to actually just be a Spellblade, since you're just going to be using a bladed weapon anyways. So the rest of the gear that I have on me is the body piece for health regeneration and heavy plates. This is just a pure defensive option to give you more defenses, give you more health, and give you that health regeneration to help stack on top of your water aura. We have healer and glove and boots, so we get plus healing and plus healer. This is just a pure preference because of the being able to get my healing up, and this also affects healing the water aura. Water aura strength is affected by healing, so this just gives you more passive regeneration from water aura. And then I have some mana regeneration pants with a bunch of mana on it. And piercing armor, just because ranged attacks hurt and it helps just lower them down. And as you can see, I'm just gonna go in here and start fighting some enemies. Come on. So yeah, we got some pretty decent damage. These guys are fire resistant, so you'll see I'm not gonna really do a whole lot of damage to them. And having light is also very, very, very nice. And then we're going to run up Light Burst, so if I can actually critical on a Light Burst, I'll actually stun this guy, hopefully. No stuns. No stuns. That's fine. So also I use a bow, and I use stun arrows. Stun arrows are incredibly useful. And then we can do merciless attacks off of that. Bam. Alright, so I know y'all don't want to see just me shooting people with bows and stunning them that way. Oh, ow. So, like, Light Burst is a great way to keep enemies from hitting you. And then, of course, bam, I can start hitting them and get some of my health back from the light boost that I get. If I hit criticals, I get more health back. And, of course, if you want, you can actually just cast that as well. Effective damage, and you'll see I get health back from the life leech on my staff. Very good way of getting health back without having to cast an actual heal spell. And you do damage. So that's why I usually would suggest getting the life leech on a staff. And one of the things that kind of make this build go is the ability to assign a staff as your ranged weapon. And then you can use whatever the button is. Its defaults to Q, but I put it on my mouse button so that I can hold my staff out while not having to hold Q. And you can see, like, I can cast spells at them if I want to, and I do pretty decent damage. Or I can go up and I can start meleeing them. And again, like, I would probably go with like a greatsword, but I haven't found a greatsword with life leech yet. There are a couple, but I just haven't gotten it, and that's what I would prefer to use. I do have great swords that are pretty decent at my base, but I want the life leech on it because I love having the sustain to fight. And that is pretty much my Spellblade build. It lets you like cast spells. You have the option to cast spells. You have the ability to melee if you want. and overall it's just pretty fun. This is the greatsword that I have in here. This actually would be a very good for my ability to stun enemies. Just stun them out, bam, put it in a merciless attack, do a bunch of merciless attack damage, etc. And again, like, it's up to you, however you want to do it. If you want to do if you want to do like a great sword build, then all you got to do is not take all these points out of this side over here and put them over here into two-handed specialization. Grab your Titan Edge, and even then they get things like Whirlwind Crescendo, which adds a whirl attack at the end of their chain. They get Heavy Hitter to increase their attack speed as well, and then you get non-wasted points towards getting Barbarian. I don't get Barbarian because I would have to spend a ton of points to get to it. Like I would have to grab like Brute here. That's 7 points just to get to Barbarian, and I don't get anything out of Heavy Hitter. I don't get anything out of Brute because I'm not using a blunt weapon, things like that. And of course, like, they get Relentless as well, so if they critical, they get more critical strike chance. So that's why I say Great Sword is probably your best option when it comes to like building a Spellblade. But this is just a one-handed shield and variety build for making a Spellblade in it of itself. All right. If you found this useful, give me a like on the video. Thank you very much for your time, and have a great day.